Remember when creating online meant just writing a blog post or creating some random videos? Well, the times have really changed. The creator ecosystem in itself has gone a massive evolution. We see a lot of brands and businesses being built on top of our social media platforms already, right? People aspire to be content creators and of course excel in different domains, fashion, art forms across multiple platforms. And such is the need of the creators ecosystem where different kind of tools to help you grow, flourish, expand your business, run affiliate campaign exist. So this episode is going to be about Mezink, which is a tool to unlock social growth for creators, professionals, and brands. We will be talking and learning with Tarun, who is the founder of Mezink. And we learned a lot about the creator ecosystem, how it has evolved, how it is going to look in the future, the ups and downs of building a company, and so many more learnings. Stay tuned and let's jump in.
Welcome to another episode of TheVShow. Today I have with us senior from my college. I would like to say Tarun, and also someone whom I have been working with closely for quite some time, and I know what he is building. So Tarun is building Mezink, and I think it's been more than 1 year already, and we have seen enormous growth and many exciting things being built. I still remember the first pager you showed me, right, and discussing on some Figma designs which you came up with. But we'll talk about it in more detail about your journey. First of all, I would like to welcome you to the show for taking out time and would want you to quickly introduce yourself. Then we'll talk about Mezink.
Thanks a lot, Vaibhav, for inviting me. Hi, guys. I'm Tarun, co-founder at Mezink, and we are building social media-led growth engine for creators and brands. The complete growth stack for them has been about a year since we launched it. Actually, like the early days have been phenomenal. I think that's really important, maintaining that momentum. And yeah, I think that's mostly what I'm working on right now.
Great, great. Tarun, why don't we actually go in a bit deep and, just try to express Mezink in a very, very simple language for every one of us who is technical, non-technical to understand and interpret.
Before coming to Mezink, right, I think सबसे simple thing है कि यार generally what is there, what has been evolving over the past few years and accelerated by COVID henceforth was that the content ecosystem is just moving really fast. There is just a lot more content which is getting created. There are people who are earning livelihoods from it. There are companies who are trying to or making most of the revenue through content marketing, content led growth, and so on and so forth. And therein lies the need of a growth stack or a tool or a set of tools which helps them leverage this social media as a channel better. And that is what we are building at Missing. So what we do is we help people who already have presence on social media and they already have a plan with regard to content. Then they just create their account on Missing, get access to tools like link in bio, forms, analytics, URL shorteners, right? The entire growth stack, along with a lot of analytics, which is third party, like combining the analytics from Instagram, YouTube, and view a consolidated dashboard so as to derive insights and further accelerate their growth as a one man or a small social media team led business ultimately. So our goal remains the same, right? We are trying to make sure that social media, whoever wants to utilize social media as an important channel for their growth, be it for revenue, be it for followers, be it for whatever, we are giving them powerful tools so that they are able to do it.
So, as a creator, for example, if I'm a creator and I'm using Mezink, right, for all my different channels, so what all can I really do? And how can it expedite, let's say, my growth or maybe some sales I'm doing? How does it work?
So it starts from something very basic, something like a LinkedIn bio website, which is now a mainstream term, but maybe a couple of years back it was something which was just up and coming, right? It starts with a LinkedIn bio website, which lists down all the links which you can use for cross networking between all your different social media presence which you might have. You can create digital products. You can integrate your YouTube, your Instagram on Missing so that you get first party analytics in a much better way. When you are running it as a social media team or as a one man led business, right? What you need is certain level of depth with minimum amount of effort, and that is where Mezing comes in. We give you that depth with less amount of effort. Of course, it's possible for you to leverage it through business manager dashboards in Instagram. A lot of it is possible through YouTube Studio as well. But then again, just the complexity or the hardness of it impacts you being frequent with checking it out and frequent with regard to deriving insights and frequent with regard to implementing it across your content initiative.
Got it. And then it also becomes like a central place where you say कि यहाँ पे मैं सब review करूँगा and I can get insights.
Correct. I think around it, so we have gone much beyond a simple LinkedIn bio website tool in that sense. As in when there are some related streams which our users ask for it, we try to build on those lines. So I think that is where we think of ourselves as a social media growth stack in general terms. Stack is slightly technical term in that sense. But yeah, it's a mix of a lot of tools spreading across which help them manage their social media presence better, understanding that presence through analytics and so on and so forth.
And what's the current user base right now? The number?
Pure vanity metrics, but we are doing good. We have close to 500,000 users now and driving good traffic across our Mezink websites. So that's doing good.
I think, like, since we talk about the creator economy and the boom of creators, how did it actually happen? How were you able to figure out कि यार ऐसा कुछ करना है? Because I feel Linktree of time it used to exist and even now it is exist, right? So what made you think that okay, this is something we should try and this is something which will add more value than any of the other products existing?
So I think experiments तो हमने यार थोड़ा जल्दी start कर दिया था. So me and my co-founder we started some experiments earlier on, and when we spoke, we were at the early phase of those experiments. When we spoke with you, we were also just trying to understand कि यार what you are doing at Air Black. And I think for us, why we narrowed down on the segment is very simply, मतलब हम as such content creator ecosystem के terms में नहीं देख रहे थे उसे. What we were looking at is again the same things which I talked about earlier, right? कि यार content ecosystem itself बहुत तेजी से बढ़ रहा है, content creation बढ़ रहा है, people earning a living out of content creation is increasing, companies earning revenue out of content is increasing. Therefore, that is becoming a standardized channel. It's like, say, if we take 10 years back, जिस तरह से maybe SEO was as important, जैसे Google search was driving all those sales, all those revenues, all those follower growth or cloud growth or whatever you want to call it. So similarly, we realized why now was the most important thing actually. I think social media has existed for a long time. मतलब 10 साल तो हो चुके हैं. लेकिन जो सबसे बड़ा shift आया कि जब हम maybe 2015, 2016 में थे, there was a sort of monopoly of few social media, right? ऐसा नहीं था कि मैं हर जगह पे एक्टिव भी हूँ, मेरा हर जगह पे कंटेंट भी बन रहा है, या हर क्रिएटर का कंटेंट हर जगह पे बन रहा है, राइट? हम लोग तो सिर्फ फेसबुक पे एक्टिव थे, तो सिर्फ फेसबुक पे एक्टिव है. प्रॉब्ली कुछ क्रिएटर्स और कुछ कंट्रीज जो थोड़ा एक्टिव वो इंस्टाग्राम पे एक्टिव है, तो सिर्फ इंस्टाग्राम पे एक्टिव है, स्नैपचैट पे एक्टिव है, तो सिर्फ स्नैपचैट पे एक्टिव है, राइट? आई थिंक वहां पे जो मेन शिफ्ट आया वो 2020 ऑनवर्ड्स ही आया. ड्यू टू गॉट व्हाट हैपेंड इज जनरली पीपल गॉट अ लॉट मोर टाइम टू कंज्यूम कंटेंट, टू क्रिएट कंटेंट, और तब उन्होंने देखना शुरू करा कि ओके, I was just focusing on one channel. Are there more channels which can be focused on here? And with the same content, I can leverage a lot more. तो वो कोविड ने एक्सेलरेट कर दिया. मतलब वो होता आज से 2 साल बाद होता मे बी. The other important thing was कि ये change, unlike a lot of other changes which COVID accelerated, right? कि work from home से बहुत सारी चीजें हो रही हैं. Maybe some of them were transient changes. लेकिन हमें लगा कि यार ये content का जो change आया है, content ecosystem में जो change आया है, that will probably transcend COVID. And that was the hypothesis which started कि अच्छा अब इसके अराउंड हमें कुछ कुछ देखना शुरू करना है, क्योंकि यहाँ पे एक फास्ट ग्रोथ हुई है. इस फास्ट ग्रोथ में कुछ कुछ बिहेवियर चेंज करें, एंड जनरली हम लोग अवेयर है उस इकोसिस्टम के बारे में, राइट? माय प्रीवियस स्टार्टअप वाज आल्सो अ कंटेंट सोशल नेटवर्क क्लिक्सअप, राइट? सो जनरली हैव बीन फॉलोइंग द स्पेस, जनरली प्रीटी इंटरेस्टेड इन नोइंग व्हाट्स गोइंग ऑन, एंड द टाइमिंग सॉर्ट ऑफ सीम्ड राइट इन टर्म्स ऑफ कि अभी यहाँ पे यू कैन टेक अ लॉट ऑफ बेट्स अल्टीमेटली. मतलब प्रोडक्ट बनाना इज टेकिंग अ लॉट ऑफ बेट्स अल्टीमेटली. सम ऑफ देम विल बी सक्सेसफुल, एंड इफ यू आर लकी, विल बी सक्सेसफुल इन अर्लियर स्टेजेस इटसेल्फ. दैट वाज द स्टार्ट ऑफ इट. सो we started with exploring all the different options कि यार अब content ecosystem में कुछ बनाना है तो क्या क्या बन सकता है. We realized that most of the creators have become multi-SKU creators, or most of the companies have also become multi-SKU companies and multi-SKU content creation companies. What I mean by that is that they are not creating content in just one channel, they are creating content across channels. और इसके कारण क्या होगा, they will be concerned about their following everywhere, right? लेकिन सबके डैशबोर्ड तो अलग अलग है, सब के कंटेंट पोस्टिंग अलग अलग है, एंड ये जनरली आपके पास टाइम तो हमेशा लिमिटेड ही है, राइट? बी इट एज अ कंटेंट क्रिएटर, बी इट एज अ सोशल मीडिया टीम. एक हमें क्लियर लगा कि एवरीवन वुड वांट टू हैव अ गुड फॉलोअर बेस अक्रॉस सोशल मीडिया. जो भी सोशल मीडिया में है वहां पे उसको फॉलोअर बेस चाहिए ही, क्योंकि अगर वो वहां पे नहीं है तो उसका वहां पे अकाउंट बनाने का कोई फायदा नहीं. स्पेशली समवन विद अ बिग फॉलोअर बेस विल ऑलवेज फील बैड कि यार मेरे यहाँ पे इतने फॉलोअर है, यहाँ पे तो इतने ज्यादा है. और इसके कुछ अर्ली ट्रेंड्स हमें, तो हमने पहले तो प्रॉपर इंडी टियर 3 क्रिएटर्स को भी देखा. तो उसमें हमने देखा कि शेयर चैट के जो क्रिएटर्स थे वो आके इंस्टाग्राम पे अकाउंट बनाते हैं, बेचारों के थोड़े कम रहते हैं फॉलोअर्स, बट दे आर ट्राइंग रियली हार्ड. दे आर ट्राइंग टू पुश कि नहीं, फॉलो मी ऑन इंस्टाग्राम एज वेल, एंड दे आर ट्राइंग टू डू दैट, व्हिच सॉर्ट ऑफ अगेन वैलिडेटेड द हाइपोथेसिस कि यार मल्टी स्क्यू क्रिएटर्स इज जनरली द नॉर्म नाउ, एंड क्रिएटर्स और these companies want following across these social media platforms. इस hypothesis पे और क्या क्या करा जा सकता है. So this is probably a later part of experiments in some way. By then we started noticing again other LinkedIn bio players also, right? कि Linktree है. Again there were many LinkedIn bio players. ऐसा नहीं कि the Linktree was the only one, but if you see all of their growth came after March 2020. which sort of is sufficient proof for us कि यार अभी तो market penetrate होना शुरू हुआ है. There is sufficient validation for you to go and build a superior product through your execution. I think generally that's the confidence which you have versus a very young founder versus someone who has worked in the industry for a few years कि यार एक्चुअली गेम तो आपको एग्जीक्यूशन पे ही जीतना है. अगर मेरे लिए किसी ने काफी चीजें वैलिडेट कर दी हैं एंड आई एम फीलिंग स्ट्रांगली अबाउट इट, आई कैन एक्चुअली एग्जीक्यूट थ्रू माय स्किल्स, बिल्ड अ सुपीरियर प्रोडक्ट, सुपीरियर एक्सपीरियंस एंड जस्ट विन द मार्केट इन व्हाटएवर आर माय मार्केट.
ये बहुत ये बहुत सही बात बोल दी आपने. हाउ आई वुड से, like given now things are scaling, I know you guys are doing really good, you are scaling up in Asia primarily. How's your general routine? How does it look? Is it like too much of professional things or work things happening, or is it like okay, things are in harmony?
तो ऐसा तो हार्मनी है. जस्ट बिल्डिंग योर ओन स्टार्टअप सिंपली मींस दैट यू आर ऑलवेज ऑन. ऐसा नहीं है कि देयर इज एनी ऑफ पॉइंट, राइट?
Correct.
बट आई एम समवन जो जब जॉब भी कर रहा था तो आई टुक माय जॉब वेरी पर्सनली, राइट? मतलब मैं ऐसा नहीं था कि आई एम लाइक कि नहीं मेरे को 5 बजे के बाद मैं आ गया हूँ घर या 6 बजे के बाद मैं घर आ गया तो अब मैं ऑफ हूँ. सो जस्ट इन स्टार्टअप दैट एक्सटेंड्स अ बिट. आप यू आर ऑलवेज ऑन, राइट? इवन व्हेन यू आर स्लीपिंग
Fancy वाली करनी है आपको.
हाँ, मतलब नहीं हमारा तो रिमोट सेटअप है, तो दैट्स द अदर थिंग.
Got it.
विल
Any kind of 24 hours on only.
24 आवर 24 आवर ऑन है वो तो वो तो है. बट इट्स नेवर ओवरवेलमिंग. अगेन मतलब ओवरवेलमिंग उतना तो नहीं होता क्योंकि अगेन यू हैव बीन यूज्ड टू वर्किंग ऑन डिफरेंट सेट ऑफ थिंग्स थ्रू आउट, राइट? तो इट गेट्स ओवरवेलमिंग ओनली व्हेन यू आर डूइंग समथिंग व्हिच यू आर नॉट एंजॉयिंग. और विद टाइम ये तो है कि यू एंजॉय व्हाट यू डू. मतलब वो तो आई थिंक उतनी क्लैरिटी, मतलब तभी तो आप ये भी कर रहे हो. देयर आर सफिशिएंट वेज फॉर अस टू नॉट डूइंग इट प्योरली टू मेक अ लिविंग. सो आई थिंक आई विल पुट इट दैट वे कि ऐसा नहीं कि आप सिर्फ
I
पैसे
think
enjoy
that,
कर रहे हो.
like to put it even trivializes it further, there is something bigger than that. Like when you know ki yaar, okay, this is a solved problem, you can solve that. There is something big which you can demand out of yourself and contribute, and I look at it that way.
तो स्टार्टअप में मेन चेंज तो एक ही होता है कि यू आर ऑलवेज ऑन. द अदर चेंज इज कि यू आर जनरली गोइंग टू बी मेकिंग अ लॉट ऑफ डिसीजंस, राइट? मतलब डिसीजन मेकिंग, जस्ट द कैपेबिलिटी ऑफ डिसीजन मेकिंग ऑफ कोर्स गोज अप व्हेन यू फाउंड अ स्टार्टअप. बट उसके साथ ही आपको डिसीजंस रेगुलर लेवल पे बहुत सारे लेने पड़ेंगे. एंड उसमें ऑब्वियसली यू कैन नॉट बी 100% राइट और हैव अ लॉट ऑफ एक्यूरेसी विद ऑल द डिसीजन. लेकिन डिसीजन लेना बहुत जरूरी है और उसमें मूव करना बहुत ज्यादा जरूरी है. इट हैज टू मूव इन अ वे दैट यू आर आल्सो फीलिंग फाइन विद दैट डिसीजन एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम एज वेल एज रेट्रोस्पेक्टिवली, राइट? तो वो सही बैलेंस बिठाना इज वेरी गुड, वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट ऑल्सो. क्योंकि अगर डिसीजंस आपके मोमेंटम बना रहे हैं generally, so that really pushes you in your general execution as well as team's execution. Everyone feels more motivated to go on जब decisions work out, right? That's the general rule which is there.
Absolutely, absolutely. यार मुझे आपसे ये भी पूछना है, like, and I think this is one of like my favorite questions in general to a lot of people who I meet and who I look up to for different kind of experiences, right? Given all this, right, and we talked about learning, we talked about growth. How do you ensure that you are, you know, evolving a lot personally, right? Because as we speak, right, things are changing in the fastest manner possible, and you need to keep up with that learning space, right? Maybe the space of tech, maybe the space of your particular expertise, and so on and so forth, the business skills, I don't know, there are plenty. How do you ensure that you are learning? Okay, one is through experimentation and, you know, doing the normal
Right.
execution and operator stuff, etc., etc., builder stuff. But is there something you do, like a routine or like a practice, to say, yeah, I'll probably read books or do some courses or do something about it where you are tinkering and learning in a particular fashion?
Got it. So I try to keep in touch with few generations, right? So I have people who are much older to me. So obviously you get to know about how they are thinking about their things. Generally brainstorm मैं करता ही हूँ. Like I try to get on a call every month with a few of my close circle guys who I met either at a workplace or outside of it. But I really enjoyed the conversation. तो मैं खुद से पिंग तो कर ही देता हूँ कि अच्छा कैच अप कर सकते हैं क्या. और इट माइट नॉट बी रिलेटेड टू अ प्रॉब्लम. मतलब ऐसा नहीं कि मेरे को कुछ लाइफ में प्रॉब्लम है इसलिए मैं कैच अप करना चाह रहा हूँ. But generally we'll exchange some thoughts, कुछ threads आएंगी. It's not very structured with regard to say content consumption. कि ऐसा नहीं कि मैं कोई कोर्स कर रहा हूँ, क्योंकि मेरे को लगता है कि यार कंटेंट तो इतना ज्यादा हो गया है. Even if you follow right people on Twitter or YouTube, you are getting sufficient amount of content. और if you are in the right WhatsApp group, आपको बहुत कुछ forward तो आ ही जाएगा. तो कंटेंट की कमी तो दुनिया में है ही नहीं. कंटेंट तो इतना सारा है कि आप कंज्यूम करते रहो. You will forever keep on building that knowledge. But to just stay in touch with a lot of people who I've met and admired, I think that helps me. By generations, I mean कि people who are much older than me, but simultaneously people who are much younger than me. You don't have to explicitly ask यार और क्या चल रहा है. लेकिन generally things which are in vogue with your circle, you will talk about them anyway. जैसे I think early stage people will still think about कि यार मुझे बहुत ओरिजिनल कुछ करना है, लेकिन वो पता चले कि ओरिजिनल कर क्या रहा है कोई भी, right? Similarly, late stage people are thinking about और कैसे आप revenue drive कर सकते हो. तो I think वो तो forever चलता रहेगा. But keeping in touch with those circles and with those sort of mentors across the board, right? Even younger people are your mentors in that sense. Just having that call once a month if possible, once a quarter तो आप कर ही लो. तो मैं उसके reminders भी डाल देता हूँ. जब मुझे याद आता है कि हाँ यार किसी से बात करें बहुत टाइम हो गया है, तो मैं कैलेंडर इनवाइट डाल देता हूँ अपने आप को and then I speak with them.
Yeah, I think I got my answer. I mean, idea was to learn from experiences, and I probably have also like I was not doing it early, but now of course, by the sheer nature of doing this podcast and in general, also I want to do because there's so much to learn from everyone, and I also prefer reading books because I feel कि वहाँ पे भी काफी experiences dumped है. I think we talked about experience, we talked about validation, idea validation, thinking, execution. Now let's talk about people. I think one of the game changing things which happen and which can happen in a startup is also getting on board with the right set of people, right? Building the right team and getting the right people who are mission aligned. It's very, very much important, especially when you are in your early days. So I want to understand about how your previous experience helped there and your stories about building your team and what do you really look for in general.
तो I think it starts with the co-founding team, of course, and especially co-founding team and core team. Generally, मेरे को ये लगा है कि it has to be just a common philosophy which is there. Philosophy how they approach work. There could be different skills. स्किल्स उतने मैटर नहीं करते, लेकिन अगर जनरल फिलोसफी सही है एंड यू आर एबल टू हैव अ सेम सेंस ऑफ डायरेक्शन कि यार हम कंपनी को कहाँ ले आना चाह रहे हैं, आई थिंक दैट्स द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग. तो मोहित और मैं वी हैव बीन ब्रांच मेट्स, बेंच पार्टनर्स फॉर 4 years इन कॉलेज. फिर उसके बाद ऑफ कोर्स स्टेड इन टच थ्रू आउट, सूडो फ्लैटमेट्स, एंड अभी भी फ्लैटमेट्स ही हैं. वी हैव लिव्ड टुगेदर फॉर अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम इन जनरल इन सिमिलर एरियाज एंड हैव स्टेड इन टच. जब मैं यहाँ पे नहीं भी था विद मोहित, देयर इज जनरली अ लॉट ऑफ कंटेक्स्ट. वहाँ वो फाउंडिंग टीम तो हमारे पास नहीं थी, हम लोग एक्सप्लोर ही कर रहे थे और हमने कहा कि ठीक है अब ये सेंस लग रहा है. वी डिडंट ओवरथिंक इट इन टर्म्स ऑफ कि व्हाट्स द राइट वे टू फाइंड अ फाउंडिंग टीम, राइट? मतलब ऐसा भी ऑफ कोर्स देयर आर मेनी नोट्स और कंटेंट यू कैन कंज्यूम अबाउट इट कि यार इस तरह से आपको फाउंडिंग टीम बनानी चाहिए. वी वर नॉट रियली इन्वॉल्वड इन एनी ऑफ दोस. हमारे लिए बहुत सिंपल था कि एक जनरल फिलोसफी सही होनी चाहिए और बाकी अ लॉट ऑफ कंटेक्स्ट जस्ट गिव यू अ लॉट ऑफ कॉन्फिडेंस ऑन ईच अदर कि अच्छा ठीक है आप दोनों कर ही लोगे, मिलके कुछ ना कुछ तो हो ही जाएगा. इन आवर केस इट वाज अ बिट कॉम्प्लीमेंट्री एज वेल बिकॉज़ मोहित आफ्टर रोडकी went to Ahmedabad, then went to BCG, then Uber, right? So he had followed a different kind of path than me. जब मैं कॉलेज था आई ज्वाइन फ्लिपकार्ट स्ट्रेट अवे, राइट, एंड आई हैड माय फर्स्ट स्टार्टअप एंड सो ऑन सो फोर्थ. मतलब मैं प्रोडक्ट टेक में ज्यादा ही रहा था उस सेंस में, तो वो थोड़ा कॉम्प्लीमेंट्री भी था. बट देन जब हम कोर टीम बनाने लगे तो हमने कल्चर टॉक हमने थोड़ा जल्दी लिख लिया था. वो हमारी एक अचीवमेंट हम मानते हैं कि बेटर बेटर अर्ली देन लेट, राइट? कि हमने थोड़ी थोड़ी चीजें कोडिफाई कर दी थी कि व्हाट आर वी रियली लुकिंग फॉर इन टर्म्स ऑफ कोर टीम, और उसमें जिस जिसको अलाइनमेंट नहीं भी है तो वी आर सीन पीपल लिविंग और अस सेइंग टू पीपल कि यार ये वर्कआउट ऐसे नहीं कर पाएगा. तो वो भी हमारे 1 year जर्नी में हमने देख लिया है. तो इट्स नॉट लाइक कि नहीं यार हमें सिर्फ अलाइंड लोग ही मिलते हैं. वी ट्राई इट आउट, राइट? आप 2-3 महीना दो, इतना लंबा अलाइनमेंट चल ही नहीं पाता अगर कोर वैल्यूज पे आप अलाइन नहीं कर पाते. वी स्टिक टू दैट कोर वैल्यूज एंड हमारे इंटरव्यूज में भी वी आर नॉट सुपर हायरिंग हैवी, राइट? मतलब वी आर स्टिल अ स्मॉल टीम. टेक टीम इज लाइक 12 इंक्लूडिंग एवरीवन, it's like 25 to 30 member team, right? Still a small close knit team. We try to have across our process the culture around earlier in the process. मतलब सबसे पहले ही हो जाएगा यहाँ तो कि वो हम खुद ही ले लेंगे कि किसी और का टाइम लगे ही ना इसमें. will be a short interview, 2-3 चीजें चेक करेंगे. जनरली वाइब ठीक आ रही है तो वो आगे बढ़ेगा, नहीं तो वहीं से बोल देंगे कि नहीं ठीक है, probably will not work out. The other thing which we do, especially in case of a lot of freshers, right? कि freshers को नहीं पता तो कल्चर क्या होता है, right? And generally freshers will also just say कि हाँ ये अच्छा ही लग रहा है मुझे तो. That's the general way, right? So we go into the period कि let's try it out. And 2-3 महीने दोनों एक दूसरे को देते हैं. We judge it together. Whether you are feeling aligned with the way we work and we are feeling aligned with the way you work. And वो हमारे लिए और important हो जाता है because it's a remote first team. 80% of our team is Indonesian. Not even in major cities of Indonesia. These are cities like Kadiri, Palembang, which you probably would not have even heard the name, right? So that's there. What we are trying to do, right? कि हायरिंग में हम कल्चर को बहुत ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंस दे देते हैं. इवन आफ्टर हायरिंग भी स्ट्रेस कि यार 2-3 महीने तो फिगर आउट करना ही है साथ में. एंड वो सिर्फ तभी हो सकता है जब आपको ऐसी अर्जेंसी नहीं है कि अच्छा कुछ ब्रेक ही हो रहा है. आई थिंक विद बिगर टीम्स द अदर थिंग इज कि ब्रेक हो ही रहा होता है तो यू ट्राई टू मेक इट वर्क थ्रू, यू ट्राई टू जस्ट पुश इट अक्रॉस कि नहीं ठीक है कल्चर मैच नहीं हो तो क्या होगा, कुछ तो हो ही रहा है. तो हम उस स्टेज पे तो नहीं है एटलीस्ट, एंड वी आर स्टिल प्रीटी फॉर्म ऑन कि इट्स बेटर टू बी केयरफुल इन दीज अर्ली स्टेजेस वर्सेस की बाद में कोर टीम में या जनरली हमारी जो टीम छोटी टीम भी है उसमें हमें ऐसा लग रहा है कि नहीं यार देयर आर पीपल पुलिंग across in different directions, right? I think Elon Musk said something wonderful recently that the momentum of the company or speed of the company or something along the same lines is the vector sum of all the people within it.
Yeah, makes total sense. What are your top culture values?
तो हमारा 2-3 है. वन इज ओवर कम्युनिकेशन क्योंकि रिमोट फर्स्ट है तो फेयरली स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड, बिना ओवर कम्युनिकेशन के हो ही नहीं सकता. तो हमारे पे जनरली तो वी operate our entire team through a bunch of WhatsApp groups. We don't have any मतलब बिल्कुल ही low friction रखना है, and plus people should feel that it's that low friction, right? कि ऐसा नहीं है कि अच्छा मैं Slack पे कुछ miss कर गया तो miss ही हो गया है वो. We have created different WhatsApp group across the teams. Over communication is one big value. The other is that we don't want individually siloed performers. We want people who naturally are very collaborative. काफी values again हमें ये पता चल रहा है कि अगर हम ये नहीं डालेंगे तो हमारा remote setup work ही नहीं करेगा. So there are people who work really well alone. There are people who would just give you amazing output, right? लेकिन उनका क्या रहेगा, वो हमेशा साइलो में ही काम करेंगे. They will not never really work together. Yeah, they will not even take the initiative to work together. It's not like they have to manage a team, or it's not like they have to compulsively have a meeting with everyone every day, but just that mindset ki, okay, if I am doing something, I am trying to put people in loop who are affected by it, and I am simultaneously proceeding and I am taking note of everything which has been communicated in the group, right? We don't want individual siloed performance. We want people who are naturally collaborative performers. इससे ही linked हमारी तीसरी value है, which is everyone is a strong individual performer.
Which is
Everyone within the team, मतलब हमारे में ऐसा नहीं है कि we have a lot of managers, मतलब इतनी छोटी टीम है तो managers वैसे भी कम ही होते हैं.
correct.
लेकिन हमारे में everyone, even if they are at a different level, so as to say कि they are experienced person within the team, they also look at something very specific within the team. तो वो थोड़ा टाइम अपना dedicate भले कर रहे होंगे कि okay, there is some management which is taking place, but apart from that, we didn't want any guys who are simply there to manage a team.
Correct.
तो मेन ये तीन वैल्यूज हमारी. लकीली अगेन वहाँ पे लकी हम ऐसे हुए हैं कि we have been able to hire really well in Indonesia. Our 80% team is in Indonesia, right? As I said, and that is across tech and business. हमारी tech team भी काफी Indonesian है.
Got it. Interesting. Very interesting. This has been a great conversation. I don't have any other questions right now or anything, but I think it was wonderful to have you on the show and talk about so many things. I personally gained a lot of insights and probably a different lens on few things. So thank you for that. And thank you, Tarun, for taking out time to do this. Means a lot.
Yeah, glad to be here, Vaibhav. I think I also just speaking a lot of those things, tried to gather a lot of those thoughts, jo I think were there and might have spoken for the first time, right? So, but really nice conversation. Wish you all the best with the TheVShow.